What is up, everybody? The History Guy here, and it's time for your daily dose of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. And today we are building, kinda, the USS Iowa class battleships. They were the last battleships ever created for the United States Navy. Also the most powerful. There were four of them: the Iowa, the New Jersey, the Missouri, and the Wisconsin. Surprisingly, I have seen three of the four Iowa class battleships. The Iowa is the only one I've never seen. I was at Pearl Harbor in 2002 on my honeymoon, and we saw the USS Missouri there. Camden, New Jersey, I believe, is where the New Jersey is. And the USS Wisconsin, I've actually been aboard the Wisconsin. It is in Norfolk. And you can see all four of those ships. They're all museums. They've all been preserved. The Iowa actually was brought back into service a few times, most recently in the late 1980s, where it actually served, I believe, in Operation Desert Storm, the first Iraq War. Iowa is one of the most decorated ships in the entire history of the United States Navy, and I've done my best to recreate it within the limits of the game. We're actually going to have two, and it looks like we're probably going to get one of them named the South Carolina. I don't know what the second one will be, but I've gone with the guns as Iowa had them, which is three 16-inch guns on three separate turrets, one on a barbette on the front. Now, historically, this one in the rear should have been back a little farther, but I had to push it to where I did because of the weight offset to try and get it as close as possible. I believe there was a helipad back here on the back in the refit. Eventually, Iowa was refit to be able to launch Tomahawk cruise missiles, for example. And I'm basically going off the specs from 1943. Iowa also had 20 of these 5-inch guns on turrets. Now, they were a couple of them in the rear. Most of them were up toward the front of the ship. I've just kind of balanced that out again because of the weight. 12-inch belt armor, 6-inch deck armor, 19.5 inches on the turret. I think I actually want to probably add a little bit to the turret top. I didn't actually find any information on what specifically the turret top was, or the conning tower for that matter. So we'll just go ahead and add a little bit to both of those. We've gone ahead and added Gen 1 radar. I couldn't go Gen 2 because I didn't have enough weight to be able to still have two battleships. 33 knots was the speed of the Iowa. The displacement, again, is way off, but unfortunately, that's the reality that you have to go with on this game to be able to get the ship to be long enough to fit everything. I have to go anything shorter than 73,000 tons did not allow me to fit all of these guns along with everything that I have. So again, within the limits of the game, we are going to take Iowa out for a spin and see what happens. Okay, so here we go. We're going up against the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which is kind of cool since it didn't really exist by the time these ships were in place. But we've got the South Carolina, the Bainbridge. That's an interesting name to go with, since all of the U.S.'s World War II battleships were named after states, but that's okay. These days, the U.S. names ballistic missile submarines after states, since we don't really have battleships anymore. Our aircraft carriers are typically named after people. That's not always the case because, of course, we have things like the Enterprise, the Yorktown, Midway. So sometimes they're named after famous battles, but a lot of them are named after people. We have the Abraham Lincoln, we have the Gerald Ford, the Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush. I know I'm thinking of, we have the Nimitz, named after a famous admiral, of course. So while I'm thinking about it, there are going to be some live streams going on this weekend. I don't know exactly when, most likely Saturday. Maybe some Sunday as well, Sunday afternoon. If you have a particular idea on what you'd like to see me live stream, you can just drop that in the comment section below if there's a particular game you'd like me to live stream. I love live streaming because it gives us an opportunity to talk in real time, and you can ask questions, you can say things, and I can respond to those. But if you are a patron over on Patreon, by the time this video goes live, I will have posted a poll question asking for your feedback on what I should live stream. So that's your best place to do that. Even if you're in at like the $1 level, you can vote in that poll. Let's go ahead and speed things up until we actually make contact. He must be out there pretty far. Still nothing. Interesting. There we go. Alright. Slow it down. These are fast battleships, so we got to be careful on the speed a little bit. We're going to drop all the way down to 20. Alright, let's go see what happens. I imagine... Oh, we already landed a hit. I don't have huge guns. You know, these are 16-inch. They'll definitely get the job done, though. Hey, that was a couple of big hits right there. You gotta love when you get to the stage of the game where you're dealing with rangefinder, really high-end rangefinders and radar. Definitely makes things move along a lot faster. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and... I think we're already turned quite enough to be able to allow these rear turrets to fire. And I want to get them in on the action. Let's go ahead down to real time. I want to watch these things fire. Here we go. The rear one's not able to fire quite yet. You have to get turned a little more. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now let's watch and see what happens, as I like to do from time to time. If we switch over to HE, these are super heavy shells with the best available powder for explosions. Got the high-end TNT. This one's gonna sink before we even identify what it is. Disappointing. Alright, so I'm over-penetrated with the HE shell, and it still did 600 damage. Not doing quite as much damage as the AP shells were. Let's switch back to those and watch what happens. We got one lucky hit, but otherwise they're not doing nearly as much. So those were probably, I think those were still high explosive. These next ones should be armor piercing. Taking a lot of hits though. Now we're gonna see all 9 go up. Oh, the rear's, oh, there it is. Takes a long time for those shells to land when we're on regular speed. Looks like we got some hits though. Down to 45%. Let's just keep the auto. How far are we? We're 17 kilometers. So Iowa was the only one of the U.S.'s larger battleships that actually served in the Atlantic during the war, as opposed to the Pacific, where most of them were. Iowa was first, number 61. New Jersey was 62. Missouri was 63. Wisconsin was 64. Of course, Missouri is the ship probably most famous of the bunch from World War II anyway, just because that was the ship aboard which the surrender was signed by the Japanese. Oh, we got a ship right there too. Wow, those ones just all kind of dinged off the side. We're not even firing on him anymore. We stopped firing on him. Alright, we're going to go ahead back to double speed. Not sure who we're firing on here. Oh, we are firing on that guy. Oh, there's a bunch of hits. Well, we're at a 58% chance of hitting right now, so that's pretty darn good. Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and start turning away from him. I don't want to get any closer than we already are. I feel like we're probably way more accurate than he is. Interesting that we're targeting this guy, but those shells are going over there. I don't know why they would have changed. I'm actually going to get the Bainbridge to start targeting these guys up here that are getting close. They're going to start launching their torpedoes. He should be getting in range of my 5-inch guns pretty soon. Oh, we sunk one. Didn't even see it happen. That's pretty awesome, though. Let's go watch. Nope. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. No, we can't select it. Just gotta go over manually. Doesn't look like it's sinking. Guess it's just going straight down. Oh, structural damage. It's still afloat. Just took too much structural damage. Interesting. We just got a floating wreckage of a hull now. Alright, we just took out one of the little ones. Nice. Man, we got an ammo detonation on that one. And I missed it. This should finish it off. Oh, yes. Yes, it did. Another big ammo detonation. Oh, we finally seen this one sink. Oh, that's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things about this game is watching the ship sink. They sink in all sorts of fun ways. Now the Budapest is sinking also. I feel bad about that. My wife's family's from Hungary. A little town called Saho St. Peter. Oh, got another ammo detonation. And another one sinking. Oh, that's wonderful when that happens. Getting hooded, as you guys have taken to calling it. I'm just kind of letting my ships decide their own targets right now. Got one more big one back here. Next up in our episode for tomorrow, we're going to do the Bismarck and the Tirpitz. So be prepared for that. And then I'm going to try to get to some of the smaller vessels, some of the cruisers that some of you guys have been requesting. So we're not just making battleships the whole time. Alright, let's get the Bainbridge to start targeting these guys here. Some of those actually go right through when they over-penetrated. Just not destroyed. If we're at 76%, okay, now we think it's an armored cruiser. I'm gonna say if it's at 76%, we still think it's a destroyer. Our identification sucks. Alright, South Carolina, finish this one off. Oh, we've already decided we're done with that one for now. Okay. Oh, our 5-inch gun's finally getting in on the action a little bit. Panther, that's kind of a cool name. Panther's kind of underwater. Oh, why do we keep switching targets? I guess they figured they did enough damage to the other one. I wonder if there's a way we can keep them from doing that. They just stay on a target and select it until that one's destroyed. Alright, check out another destroyer. Wow, that was some major hits on Klagenfurt. I think it's probably toast. See if that's enough to sink it. That's 5 bulkheads. That's enough to sink it. Your turn, Panther. It's really cool when you see the ricochets and you see the chunks of shrapnel flying off the ship. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Oh yeah, it hurt big time. Let's watch this one happen in real time. This is going to be devastating. Not as much as we would have thought. Still a ton of damage. Next salvo should do it. Here it comes. Surviving longer than I thought it would for an armored cruiser. Here we go. That's all she wrote. What do we got left? Oh, we got a cruiser way back there. Nearly dead already. The Wolfsburg. Oh, we do have a couple destroyers still out there too. This might take a couple rounds. Yeah, you don't need to fire ahead on this one. I don't think she's moving. There we go. Boom. Actually kind of sat upright with the last hit. And now for these little destroyers. One hit, one kill. Bye-bye. That leaves you. That's all she wrote. I think that's the whole fleet. Yep. All right. So there you have it. USS Iowa, kinda. And we'll come back tomorrow with the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, and then we'll move on to some other ships after that. Check out that poll question over on Patreon about what you'd like to see me live stream this weekend. And if you are not a patron and you aren't really interested or able to do that, that's totally fine. Every time you watch a video, you drop a like, leave a comment. You are helping support this channel, and you can go ahead and leave comments in the description of this video as well to let me know what you'd like to see me live stream. And a lot of different options out there, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be something I've already played before. So let me know your thoughts. We will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.